Hi there, I'm Donna Wolfe from Naztazia.com.
Today I'll show you how to crochet the ribbon stitch. This crochet pattern has a textured look on one side and stripes on the other. To do this, I'm using an ivory color yarn as my main color. You can use multiple solid colors for the secondary color, or a nice multicolor yarn works well too. To begin, chain 25 or any multiple of 8 plus 1. You'll skip the first chain and make a single crochet in the second chain and a single crochet in each chain across. Now it's time to switch to the next color. I usually pull through the new color before I complete the last yarn over. You'll then chain 1 and turn your work. For row 2, we'll start off with 4 regular single crochet stitches made under both loops of the previous row. Next, we're going to switch it up a little bit. For the next 4 stitches, we'll make single crochet stitches, but these 4 single crochet stitches will all be made in the back loops only of the previous row's stitches. This is going to both add texture and help us with those longer double crochet stitches later. After we make the 4 single crochet stitches in the back loops, we're going to go back to the 4 single crochet stitches made under both loops of the previous row's stitches. We're going to be doing a lot of stitches in the multiple of 4 in this pattern. And as you can see, for the next 4 stitches, I'm making 4 single crochet stitches, but all of them are made in the back loops only. Once you have completed row 2, you'll chain 1 and turn your work. Row 3 is pretty easy. We're just going to make 1 regular single crochet in each stitch across, and all of these single crochet stitches will be made under both loops. Going forward, all odd rows will just have regular single crochet stitches on them made under both loops. And you can see I'm switching back over to the ivory color yarn for the next 2 rows. We'll be switching colors every 2 rows in this pattern. For row 4, we'll start with a chain 1 and then turn our work. This time we're going to be doing a little bit of a different pattern. We'll start off with 4 single crochet stitches made under the back loops only. Now here's where our pattern gets its look from. If you notice, we had crocheted in only 1 loop in the first pink row. Because of this, we have front loops along the ivory yarn top edge. We're going to use these 4 loops to make elongated double crochet stitches in. So we have 4 loops and we'll make 4 elongated double crochet stitches in them. As you can see, I'm really drawing up my loops nice and tall so that the stitches don't curl over on me. And here's my last elongated double crochet stitch made in the 4th loop along the ivory yarn top edge. Because we are working in the front loops from a previous row, sometimes we might forget exactly where to put the next stitch. So it helps to look behind those stitches and count over 4 stitches, because then we'll be putting our next stitch in the 5th stitch over. If you notice, this time I'm making 4 single crochet stitches, but they are all made in the back loops only of the previous row's stitches. Now I'm going to do those double crochet stitches again. You'll begin like any regular double crochet stitch. However, you'll reach down 2 rows below into those front loops that are along the top edge of the ivory yarn, and you'll make your double crochet stitches in them. I do find it helpful to make the stitches nice and tall and to really draw up those loops. Sometimes if you pull too tightly with these types of stitches, your work will start to curl forward, and of course we don't want that in this pattern. As you can see, I'm moving on to the next set of 4 stitches made in the back loops, and finally I'll end with 4 elongated double crochet stitches at the end. Because those elongated stitches don't really connect to the back, we need to make a small slip stitch here so that it connects to the pink yarn and doesn't flip forward on you for subsequent rows. You can see how nice the pattern is starting to take shape. Now we'll move on to row 5. This is another relatively easy row for us. We'll do our chain 1 and turn our work. And this time we're just making our regular single crochet stitches going under both loops of the previous row's stitches. It's up to you how you want to handle the next color change. I'm just going to keep reusing the pink yarn. So I'll drop my ivory color yarn and pick up the pink yarn. For row 6, we're going to be doing 2 different types of 4 single crochet stitches again. This time, to help offset the pattern, we're going to start off with the 4 single crochet stitches made in the back loops only. And then we're going to move on to the 4 single crochet stitches made under the both loops. and you'll continue alternating between these two types of single crochet stitches across the row. And as always, our odd rows are nice and easy for us. We'll just continue using the same yarn color, then we'll chain 1 and turn our work. These odd number rows get the single crochet stitches made under both loops across the row. After this row is completed, I drop the pink yarn and pick up the ivory color yarn again to move on to row 8. Row 8 is similar to our previous double crochet row, except in this case, we start with the double crochet stitches. And it's pretty obvious when you do this pattern where the double crochet stitches go, because 2 rows below, along that top edge of the ivory yarn, you'll see those little front loops sticking out. And that's of course where we're going to place our elongated double crochet stitches. Once we complete the double crochet stitches, we move on to the 4 single crochet stitches made in the back loops only, and we continue alternating between these 2 types of stitches across the row. You can see the pattern really starting to take shape now. The woven ribbon effect is starting to show up nicely. So for row 9, we'll chain 1 and turn our work, and this is one of those easy rows again for us, as we just use the same color yarn and make our single crochet stitches under both loops across the row. Now going forward, we simply repeat rows 2 through 9. That sounds like a lot of rows, but if you remember, everything is just in groups of 4, and all of our odd rows are just single crochet stitches. And then in between, we just alternate where we place double crochet stitches and single crochet stitches. Continue with this pattern for as many rows as you wish. And that's how I make the crochet ribbon stitch.